Every day, more than 2 billion people reheat their leftovers. They assume that if food is heated enough, it's automatically safe to eat. That assumption is costing lives. There's a figure I want you to remember: 1 in 6. That's the proportion of all cancer cases in the world that researchers now associate with dietary factors, including how food is stored, heated, and consumed. According to data published in CA, a cancer journal for clinicians, poor dietary habits are the second most important modifiable risk factor for cancer worldwide, surpassed only by tobacco use. Yet almost no one talks about what happens to certain foods at the molecular level when they are heated a second time, whether in the microwave or on the stove. The chemical reactions that take place are completely silent. You can't see them, you can't smell them, but they occur inside the food and then inside the body. My name is Andrew Bennett. I have dedicated more than 15 years to studying nutritional biochemistry and the relationship between food science and preventive oncology. Today I'm going to show you 4 foods that you almost certainly reheat. Foods that you probably have in your refrigerator right now that undergo documented and scientifically verified chemical transformations when reheated. Transformations that carry a quantifiable cancer risk. Stay with me until the end of this video, because the 4th food on this list is one that almost every health-conscious person believes is completely safe. However, that belief is dangerously wrong. Before we continue, I want you to understand something important. This isn't about a minor inconvenience. This isn't about a stomachache or temporary food poisoning. What we are talking about is the slow, progressive accumulation of carcinogenic compounds inside your body over the course of months and years. The kind of silent damage that often goes unnoticed until it becomes extremely difficult to reverse. Cancer rarely develops overnight. It is a gradual process, a slow progression. The building blocks of that process, free radicals, advanced glycation end products, nitrosamines, and byproducts of lipid peroxidation, often enter your body not through cigarette smoke or industrial pollution, but through your own kitchen. The World Health Organization has classified several compounds that form when certain foods are heated as Group 1 or Group 2A carcinogens. Group 1 means there is conclusive evidence that the substance causes cancer in humans. Group 2A means it is probably carcinogenic to humans. These are not theoretical concerns. They are documented chemical reactions that occur in your kitchen, on your stove, or inside your microwave every time food is heated incorrectly. And here's the part that should worry you most. The people at greatest risk are not those with unusual eating habits. They are ordinary people who believe they are choosing healthy foods: lean proteins, cooked vegetables, rice, and eggs. These are the 4 categories of food we are going to examine today. After watching this video, you will never look at leftovers the same way again. Before we continue, let me briefly explain why I am qualified to speak on this topic. Not to impress you, but because in a world full of health misinformation, you deserve to know who is giving you advice and why that advice is credible. I completed my medical training with a specialization in internal medicine, followed by an advanced subspecialty in nutritional biochemistry. For the past 15 years, my research has focused specifically on how cooking methods, heat exposure, storage, and reheating of foods alter the molecular structure of macronutrients and generate byproducts that interact with human DNA and cellular metabolism. For this video, I have reviewed hundreds of peer-reviewed scientific studies. Every claim I make is backed by research published in prestigious journals such as Food Chemistry, the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry, Carcinogenesis, and the Lancet Oncology. I will explain the underlying mechanisms in clear, easy-to-understand language because the science is real, the evidence is solid, and you deserve to understand it. I am not here to sell you a supplement. I am not here to scare you into buying a course. I am here because preventive medicine begins with knowledge, and the information I am about to share could truly help protect you and your family. Before I talk about the specific foods, I need to give you a brief but essential introduction to food chemistry. Please do not skip this section. It is key to understanding everything that follows. When food is cooked for the first time, heat produces predictable and generally controllable chemical reactions. Proteins unfold, starches gelatinize, and fats emulsify. These are normal processes. However, when food that has already undergone these changes is reheated, especially food that has been stored in the refrigerator for several hours or even several days, a completely different set of reactions begins to occur. First, oxidation. Fats and proteins that have been exposed to oxygen during storage become chemically unstable. When heat is applied again, these already damaged molecules break down further into compounds known as lipid peroxides and malondialdehyde, both well-documented agents capable of damaging DNA. Second, the Maillard reaction gone wrong. The Maillard reaction is responsible for the rich flavor and appealing brown color of many cooked foods. However, when proteins and sugars are repeatedly exposed to high temperatures, they can produce compounds known as advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These compounds promote chronic inflammation, one of the main biological drivers of cancer development. Third, nitrite conversion. Certain foods, especially those with naturally high nitrate content, undergo bacterial conversion while stored in the refrigerator. When heated, nitrates are converted into nitrites, which in turn can be transformed into nitrosamines, compounds that the World Health Organization classifies as probable or confirmed carcinogens. Three mechanisms: oxidation, advanced glycation, and nitrosamine formation. Keep these three terms in mind as we examine each food, because you will see one or more of these mechanisms involved in every example we look at. Food number 1, cooked rice. Rice is the most consumed staple food on Earth. More than 3 billion people rely on rice as their main source of calories. Billions of those people reheat leftover rice every day. It is a habit deeply rooted in almost every culture in the world. However, there is a serious problem with this practice, one that has very little to do with the reheating process itself, and everything to do with what happens during the time the rice spends in the refrigerator between the first and second cooking. As cooked rice cools, it becomes an almost ideal environment for the growth of a bacterium known as Bacillus cereus. This is not a rare contaminant, it is naturally present in raw rice. It survives the initial cooking process and can multiply rapidly in cooked rice left at room temperature or stored in the refrigerator for extended periods. When the rice is reheated, the heat may kill the bacteria, but it does not destroy the heat-resistant toxins they have already produced. These toxins survive the microwave, survive the stove, and enter the digestive system intact. However, while the bacterial risk is significant, it is not the main carcinogenic concern. The carcinogenic concern is as follows. Bacillus cereus produces a toxin called cereulide, which laboratory studies have shown can damage the mitochondria inside human cells. Mitochondrial dysfunction is recognized as one of the earliest biological events that can contribute to malignant cellular transformation, the process by which a healthy cell gradually becomes cancerous. There is another less discussed but equally important concern associated with reheated rice. The repeated heating of starch-rich foods increases the formation of acrylamide, a chemical compound produced when natural sugars react with the amino acid asparagine at high temperatures. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, classifies acrylamide as a group 2A carcinogen, meaning it is probably carcinogenic to humans. So what should you do instead? Whenever possible, cook rice fresh. If you need to store it, transfer it to a shallow tray immediately after cooking so it cools quickly. Refrigerate within 1 hour, consume it within 24 hours, and never reheat rice more than once. Food number 2, cooked chicken. Here's something that may surprise you. Chicken is the most popular lean protein in the world. Doctors, dietitians, bodybuilders, and health-conscious families recommend it and frequently base their meals on cooked chicken. And when there is leftover chicken in the refrigerator, almost everyone reheats it. This is where the problem begins. When proteins, particularly those found in animal muscle tissue, are exposed to high temperatures a second time, they undergo a process known as protein oxidation. One consequence of this process is the formation of compounds called heterocyclic amines, HCAs. HCAs are not a controversial topic in nutritional science. They are among the most researched dietary carcinogens in scientific literature. Once HCAs enter the body, liver enzymes metabolize them into highly reactive compounds that can bind directly to DNA. This interaction with DNA can produce genetic mutations. Mutations affecting critical genes, especially tumor suppressor genes, represent one of the main mechanisms through which cancer originates. A landmark study published in Carcinogenesis found that people who frequently consumed well-cooked or reheated poultry had a statistically significant increase in colorectal cancer risk. An independent analysis by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that frequent consumption of reheated processed chicken was associated with an increased risk of pancreatic cancer, one of the deadliest forms of cancer, with a 5-year survival rate of only 11%. Foods number 3 and 4 are the ones most people misunderstand. Food number 3 mainly affects people who pride themselves on maintaining a clean, healthy diet. Food number 4 is something that nutritionists and doctors regularly recommend consuming, but the risks associated with heating it remain almost completely unknown to the general public. If you find this kind of practical, evidence-based health information valuable, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. I publish a new video every week, and each one follows the same approach as this video. Peer-reviewed scientific research, translated into practical information you can apply. No hype, no supplements, no hidden agendas, just the science and what it means for your health. Food number 3, spinach and other nitrate-rich leafy greens. Spinach is arguably one of the most beloved vegetables in healthy eating. It is rich in iron, folate, magnesium, and powerful antioxidants. Nutritionists, neurologists, and cardiologists consistently recommend eating more spinach, and they are absolutely right when it is eaten fresh or cooked once and consumed immediately. The problem arises when spinach is stored and then reheated. Spinach, along with celery, beets, lettuce, and Swiss chard, is among the richest dietary sources of natural nitrates. In their natural form, these nitrates are beneficial. They help maintain cardiovascular health and contribute to healthy blood pressure regulation. However, once cooked spinach is refrigerated, the bacteria naturally present on the surface of the leaves begin to convert those nitrates into nitrites. This is the same chemical conversion that occurs in cured meats. It is also one of the reasons the World Health Organization classified processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen in 2015. When you reheat spinach that has been refrigerated for 24 hours or more, you are applying heat to a vegetable that has already undergone substantial conversion of nitrates to nitrites. Under heat, those nitrites can react with the amino acids present in the spinach and subsequently in the stomach to produce nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are among the most potent dietary carcinogens identified by modern science. Animal studies have shown that they can induce cancer even at very low doses. Furthermore, epidemiological research consistently associates high nitrosamine exposure with an increased risk of gastric, esophageal, and colorectal cancer. This is not a hypothetical concern created for this video. The European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, has issued formal guidelines on dietary exposure to nitrates and nitrites from vegetables, specifically warning about the potential risks associated with reheating nitrate-rich vegetables after they have been stored following cooking. The irony is devastating. One of the healthiest foods on the planet can be turned into a source of carcinogenic compounds simply by a storage and reheating habit that millions of health-conscious people practice every week. So what should you do instead? Cook spinach and other leafy greens fresh whenever possible. Consume them immediately after cooking. If you have leftovers, eat them cold within a few hours. Do not refrigerate cooked spinach with the intention of heating it later. If you absolutely must store it, keep it in an airtight container, consume it within 6 hours, and do not reheat it. Eat it cold instead. Food number 4, eggs. I told you that the fourth food would surprise you. Here it is, eggs. Eggs are among the most nutritionally complete foods available. They contain all 9 essential amino acids. They are an excellent source of choline, an essential nutrient that supports brain function. They provide significant amounts of selenium, an important mineral involved in antioxidant defense, and they also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 antioxidants that help protect both eye health and cellular health. By almost every nutritional standard, eggs are one of the healthiest foods you can eat. However, reheating eggs, especially scrambled or hard-boiled eggs, creates a specific and often overlooked chemical problem that very few people discuss. Eggs contain approximately 13% fat, with most of that fat concentrated in the yolk. When an egg is cooked for the first time, the fats in the yolk undergo an initial stage of oxidation. This is a normal, expected process. However, when a cooked egg is refrigerated and then heated at high temperature, those already oxidized fats undergo secondary lipid oxidation at a much faster rate. The byproducts produced during this process, particularly malondialdehyde and oxystrols, are now well documented in the scientific literature. Oxystrols in particular have attracted considerable scientific attention over the past decade. These compounds are oxidized forms of cholesterol that develop specifically when cholesterol-containing foods are repeatedly heated. A comprehensive review published in the journal Food and Chemical Toxicology concluded that oxystrols possess pro-atherogenic, pro-inflammatory, and most importantly, cytotoxic and genotoxic effects on human cells. Genotoxic. That word is extremely important. It means toxic to the genetic material inside your cells, your DNA. By definition, genotoxic compounds are considered potential carcinogens because they can produce DNA strand breaks and genetic mutations that initiate the chain of events leading to cancer. There is another concern associated with reheated eggs. When cooked egg proteins are exposed to excessive heat a second time, especially during rapid microwave reheating, they undergo additional protein denaturation. These proteins form abnormal crosslinks that are difficult for the digestive system to break down. Even more importantly, some research suggests that the sulfur-containing amino acids naturally present in eggs, cysteine and methionine, may degrade during repeated heating. The degradation products formed from these amino acids can contribute to oxidative stress in the lining of the digestive tract. Oxidative stress affecting the intestinal lining is not a minor issue. Persistent oxidative stress in the gastrointestinal mucosa is considered one of the main proposed mechanisms in the development of colorectal cancer, the third most common cancer in the world, responsible for nearly 1 million deaths per year. So what should you do? Eggs are best consumed immediately after cooking. If prepared in advance, hard-boiled eggs should be kept in their shell and consumed cold. Avoid reheating scrambled eggs or omelets in the microwave. If you need to warm an egg-based dish, use gentle indirect heat, such as a water bath or a very low temperature oven. Never heat egg dishes to temperatures above 74 degrees Celsius, 165 degrees Fahrenheit. I want to be honest with you about something. When I started reviewing the scientific research on reheated foods, when I carefully read the literature on the formation of nitrosamines, heterocyclic amines, and oxysterols, my first reaction was not fear. It was frustration. Frustration because this information is not hidden. It has been published in peer-reviewed scientific journals. It appears in the official guidelines of the European Food Safety Authority, the World Health Organization, and numerous public health agencies around the world. Yet somehow, it almost never reaches the dinner table. It is rarely communicated in a clear, practical, and easy-to-apply way for ordinary people in their daily lives. Billions of people make decisions about how to reheat food every day, not because they are careless, but simply because they have never received this information. There are children eating reheated rice, spinach, and eggs in their school lunches 5 days a week. There are older adults with weakened immune systems reheating leftover chicken in the microwave, simply because they live alone and it is convenient. There are fitness enthusiasts eating reheated high-protein meal prep containers every day, convinced they are maximizing their health, unaware that the chemical composition of their meal has changed significantly since it was originally prepared. None of these people are doing anything wrong. They simply don't know. Now you know. That is the purpose of this channel. That is the purpose of this video, not to scare you about food, but to give you practical, evidence-based knowledge that allows you to make smarter, healthier decisions and to help close the gap between what modern science has already discovered and what the general public actually knows. So let's put it all together. 4 foods, 4 different biological mechanisms, 1 clear conclusion: food matters. Food number 1, rice. Reheating cooked rice can reactivate heat-stable bacterial toxins produced by Bacillus cereus and also promote the formation of acrylamide through the reaction of natural sugars with amino acids during repeated heating. Mechanism: bacterial toxin activity and acrylamide formation. Possible cancer connection: mitochondrial dysfunction and exposure to a probable group 2A carcinogen. Food number 2, chicken. Reheating cooked chicken at high temperatures promotes the formation of heterocyclic amines, HCAs, through protein oxidation, while increasing lipid oxidation, byproducts such as malondialdehyde and 4-hydroxynonenal. Mechanism: protein oxidation and lipid oxidation. Possible cancer connection: direct DNA interaction by HCAs and increased risk of colorectal and pancreatic cancers. Food number 3, spinach and other leafy greens. During refrigeration, bacterial activity converts naturally occurring nitrates into nitrites. When these vegetables are heated, the nitrites can react to form nitrosamines. Mechanism: nitrate to nitrite to nitrosamine conversion. Possible cancer connection: increased nitrosamine exposure that has been associated with gastric, esophageal, and colorectal cancers. Food number 4, eggs. Repeated heating of cholesterol and fat-containing egg yolks promotes the formation of oxysterols, oxidized derivatives of cholesterol with documented genotoxic activity, as well as secondary lipid oxidation products. Mechanism: cholesterol oxidation and secondary lipid oxidation. Possible cancer connection: DNA damage, oxidative stress affecting the intestinal lining, and increased risk of colorectal cancer. 3 fundamental biochemical mechanisms appear repeatedly across 4 of the most commonly reheated foods in the world: nitrosamine formation, lipid and protein oxidation, and bacterial toxin activation. This is not fear-mongering. This is food biochemistry that has been repeatedly, consistently, and rigorously investigated in the scientific literature. Now let me tell you exactly what I want you to do with this information. These are practical, simple steps that require no special equipment, no supplements, and no drastic lifestyle changes. Small informed decisions can substantially reduce your long-term exposure to potentially harmful food compounds. Cook rice fresh whenever possible. If you store it, cool it within 1 hour. Refrigerate immediately. Consume within 24 hours and never reheat more than once. Whenever possible, eat leftover cooked chicken cold in salads or wraps. If it must be heated, use the lowest effective temperature and avoid overheating beyond the recommended safe internal temperature. Do not reheat cooked spinach, Swiss chard, beet greens, and celery. Consume them cold or prepare them fresh. Store cooked leafy greens for no more than 6 hours before consuming them cold. Cook eggs fresh whenever possible. If you prepare hard-boiled eggs in advance, store them unpeeled and consume them cold. Never heat scrambled eggs or other egg-based dishes in the microwave. Invest in a food thermometer. Reheating gently below 74 degrees Celsius, 165 degrees Fahrenheit, can significantly reduce the formation of many of the compounds mentioned in this video compared to high-temperature cooking methods. Avoid reheating food more than once, one cooking and one reheating at most. After that, discard the leftovers. Whenever possible, use a low-temperature oven instead of a microwave to reheat protein-rich foods. Microwave ovens can create uneven, localized hotspots that can accelerate oxidation reactions. Carefully plan your meal portions to generate fewer leftovers. That is the single most effective behavior change you can make. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you something, and I really want to hear your answer. Which of these 4 foods surprised you the most? Was it rice, the food that almost everyone reheats without a second thought? Was it chicken, the protein that millions of meal prepping, health-conscious people consider the gold standard? Was it spinach, the vegetable that virtually every health expert recommends eating more often? Or was it eggs? Tell me in the comments. And if there is a specific food you would like me to investigate in a future video, something you eat regularly or reheat often, leave that in the comments too. I read every single comment. Your questions help shape the research and the future videos on this channel. Before I finish, I want to leave you with one final message. Think of someone in your life who reheats leftovers without much thought. Maybe it's a parent, a brother, or a sister, a college student who lives on pre-cooked chicken and rice, a spouse who has been reheating leftover spinach all week, or someone who heats scrambled eggs in the microwave every morning because they prepared a large batch on Sunday. They don't know what you now know, and you can change that in less than 10 seconds, simply by sharing this video with them. Not to scare them, not to lecture them, simply to give them the same information you now have, because they deserve the chance to make informed decisions about their health just as much as you do. The research is real, the potential risks are real, and the solutions are surprisingly simple. Share this video because preventing cancer is not just a personal responsibility, it is also something we can achieve together. As always, I want to close with an important clarification. Everything presented in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as personal medical advice, a medical diagnosis, or a treatment recommendation. The scientific evidence discussed in this presentation reflects the findings published in peer-reviewed medical and scientific literature available at the time this video was produced. Food science continues to evolve rapidly, and recommendations may change as new high-quality evidence becomes available. I strongly encourage you to consult with your physician, registered dietitian, or other qualified healthcare professional before making significant changes to your diet, especially if you have any pre-existing medical conditions. The mission of this channel has always been to translate complex scientific research into clear, practical, evidence-based information, not to replace your doctor, not to generate unnecessary fear, but to ensure that the same scientific evidence available to researchers and public health professionals is also available to you, because you deserve complete, accurate, evidence-based information about your own health. Thank you for watching.